a podcast to honor the gods.
This better come with a sacrifice.
Dave X Media.
Welcome to the Restricted Section, the podcast that is less about loving Harry Potter and more about the fact that my friends and I love to hear ourselves talk. If you haven't done the reading, don't worry, we did it for you. Here's what we're talking about this week. Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows, Chapter 21, The Tale of Three Brothers, in which we hear a little fairy tale and explode a little erumpent horn. I'm your host, Christina. My co-host today is my friend Leela. Say hello to the listeners, Leela.
Hi, that's me exploding with personality.
Oh, nice, nice. And our very special guest today is our friend Ashley. Say hello to the listeners, Ashley.
Hello for the last time.
Oh
That's
God,
me
no!
exploding with sadness. Book 7.
Oh my God. That is so supremely depressing.
I know. One last time. The
Oh
people
my
will hear
God.
from me one last time. Have to sing so I don't
Just gonna jump in
cry.
with a little harmony.
Sing through the tears. Ashley, we're so happy to have you back.
Thank
Let's see
you.
everyone.
I'm happy to
You
be
know
back.
what I like to do. Okay, Ashley, when did we meet you? For book 5? Was it book 5? Yes.
I think
you
first.
came on.
Yeah.
You came on for Order of the Phoenix, Chapter 19, The Lion and the Serpent.
Okay.
In December of 2022.
Oh, wow.
I know. And then last September, you came on for Half-Blood Prince Chapter 12, Silver and Opals, which was an awesome chapter.
Yeah.
So now you're here.
Now I'm here today.
Hell yeah. And tell us how you like this book compared to other books in the series.
This is the best one. I mean, isn't it? I like it a lot. I don't know. It's just the best. It's the end. We're wrapping everything up. Tons of action. I think it's the best one.
Okay, I hear you. And I seem to recall you simping pretty hard in the Discord server for Bill, and we get a little bit of good Bill action
yes.
in this one.
Bill is my favorite. And I'm not even talking about like Domhnall Gleeson. Like he's kind of like whatever. My mental
agreed.
picture of Bill, husband. I love him.
The Bill we've all built in our brains.
Yes.
I feel like Domhnall. How do you say? I don't know if I've ever
Domhnall.
uttered that name. Domhnall.
Abdominal.
Abdominal Gleeson. I feel like he would make a better Percy. No, you know what I mean?
I just think that none of the characters in the books, in the films, were really written to have a personality at all.
Yeah.
And I think if they had made Domhnall cool and given him room, he maybe could have done something with it. But
Yeah.
he didn't get that, and so we got nothing.
Could have given him the old Taylor Lautner treatment. Have him gain 30 pounds of muscle. That would have helped a little.
Yeah, or like anything. I'm trying to remember anything of him from the films, and all
There's
I remember
not a
is
lot.
him. He steps forward so awkwardly the way one would do in a stage play and is like, Mad Eye's dead. And that's, I think, his only meaningful contribution to all of the films.
You know, Mad Eye is that actor's dad in real life, which
I
is
totally
like
forgot
Brendan,
about
a
that.
little, Brendan Gleeson. It's a little family affair.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's kind of a wet blanket in the movies, but they kind of all are, like you said. I didn't have the hots for any of like the characters in Harry Potter really, except maybe Cedric.
Ooh, how could you not?
Right.
Yeah, definitely Cedric. I was like, finally.
Something to look at.
Reading an 800-page book, finally something to look at. Yeah, well, and it's funny now because we're grown, and it's like, the grown-ups are the hot ones now, thank God.
Oh my God, can I just say, I was at the clinic today, and there was this kid, a baby, whose name was Cedric. And when I saw his name, I was just like, he's bewitched, Cedric, he's bewitched, you know. But then they were like, yeah, and his sister's name's Lily. And I'm like, oh,
No.
We
Okay,
see.
so that sounds intentional, but also like misled because those characters don't have anything to do. Maybe
Yeah.
it's best that the characters don't have anything to do with each other.
Was there Aurora? Was that a character's name? It
No.
seems like it should be, but it's too close to
I
Aurora.
agree.
Aurora the Aurora.
Oh.
No. That's another sibling.
Okay, so maybe it
Maybe
wasn't
not, but it
intentional.
seems very Harry Potter coded.
No,
Cedric and Lily.
It turns out
Yeah.
it was intentional.
What? Then why would you name the other one Aurora?
I guess I don't know. Maybe that. Are you sure that's not like a B plot character that we?
Yeah,
don't
I
I
am
was gonna
100%
say.
sure they might get mentioned. It could be mentioned once only.
Yep. And then the dog's name is
Yeah.
Matilda. No, I'm just
No.
kidding.
Oh my God! Aurora is Professor Sinistra's first name.
The astrology
teacher.
Oh, so this is just like a true fan, a true OG
no
fan.
way!
deep
Come on,
cuts.
they never say her first name in the books. They never ever barely even say her last name in
Yeah.
the books.
Because you know what? Cedric and Lily aren't like main characters, so like. I feel like she's like, I'm gonna pick like ones that like everyone like. I'm not gonna name them like Harry and Hermione. Like,
yeah, at least it's not Harry and Hermione. I'll give you that. I'll give you that.
I don't think Hermione is like a good name at all for
No,
any child.
I don't like those.
In general.
Can kind of work, even though Cedric for a baby, it's a little.
I know, it's kinda funny.
A little mature.
yeah,
Yeah, like someone is. You're just Cedric. Yeah, has like an adult gravitas and a bit of like a sensuality, and it's like, oh, is that your baby Cedric?
Ooh, Cedric. It's also like to make matters even more confusing. He has like flaming red hair, so I'm like, what's? But that's a Weasley, and
That's a Weasley.
Dirty
hair.
robes. Must be Weasley.
dirty diaper, vacant expression. Must be a baby.
Ashley, what are you drinking? That can looks cool.
I'm drinking a little non-alcoholic Aperol Spritz. It's this brand.
Ooh.
It's this brand called, I think the brand is AF. I ordered them off of Amazon. They're 50
Cool.
calories, and it's just like a little, something different. It doesn't taste like an Aperol
totally.
Spritz, but it's kind of fun.
Yeah, I totally get that. It's especially I'm trying to like drink a little less this time of year. After my birthday, I'm like, woo,
Yeah,
time
bringing the
to
summer
hit
to
the
a
brakes.
close.
Yeah, so before I start my October Halloween binge,
Holiday drinks, yes, for sure.
So it's important for me to have like exciting beverages that are not alcoholic. So I'm drinking. Always got my little seltzers. I got my watermelon seltzer. So
Nice.
it's like I don't need to drink, but I do need
Something.
a little treat.
That was me. We went out on a boat a couple of weekends ago, and I drank 9 LaCroix. 9.
Whoa.
I was so bubbly.
Whoa, girl.
Tummy was filled up with bubbles. But like that's the thing. If it hadn't have been 9 LaCroix, it would have been 9 beers. So
Right.
Yeah,
at least
yes.
they're not. I almost said Michelobes. At least they weren't Michelobes.
And some days are 9 beer days, but
Yeah.
I record too many times a week. Back
can't
when
all
I
be
first
9 beer days.
started,
Right.
Back when I first started this show, I was like blacking out every episode. We just can't be doing that anymore. I'm a professional.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Well, we're here to talk about the tale of 3 brothers, which Ashley, like a week ago, I was like, Ashley, I just realized that I have you on the schedule for this, but I never asked if you could do it. Thank God you were so flexible and available. I'm really grateful to you.
Oh yeah, it's a great chapter. I'm glad that fate would have me on it.
Okay, cool. All right, good. Yeah, it's cooler than I thought it would be. The stuff that happens at the end, I thought was in the next chapter. So
Yeah, it's just
We
this
got
one.
Little
And
action.
This freaking scene in the movie is my favorite, and it's Josh's favorite too, where it's like the animation and Emma Watson's like tinkering little British voice is like, long ago, 3 brothers were walking along. at
That's pretty
twilight."
good.
you're really good at that, Ashley.
Thank you.
She's been practicing. In
I'll
the
just
mirror.
read the whole thing. Okay, let's go.
Okay.
So like the last sentence of the last chapter was Are you referring to the sign of the Deathly Hallows? Dun-dun-dun. Dramatic chapter break. Okay, you take a chapter break in books for one of three reasons. Change in time period.
Yeah, like a flashback or like
3 days later.
Yeah.
Or like, let's do the plan tonight. New chapter. It's tonight. Okay, so you do a chapter break for a change in time, a change in perspective, like, okay, suddenly it's this person's point of view.
Yeah.
Or a change in drama. And this is a classic change in drama chapter break. I always like to refer to Rick Riordan as the king of the dramatic chapter break. That motherfucker never stops a chapter for any reason other than drama, and I respect it. And I think more books could stand to do it. So, the Deathly Hallows, what are those? Xenophilius says he wears the symbol of the Deathly Hallows to reveal himself to other believers who might help with the quest. Putting this in air quotes because it's a little... what is it, guys? It's
Culty?
a little like culty. It kind of reminded me of reading like Dan Brown novels, when they're like
conspiracy-ish.
a bit like conspiratorial.
That's the word.
But there's like a fine line, as Robert Langton from the Da Vinci Code would love to tell you, between like academic pursuit and like conspiratorial pursuit, and I think that Xenophilius probably really rides that line.
Yeah. To
Yeah,
him,
I
it's
don't.
more of a sheer veil. Mm-hmm. If you catch my drift.
Yeah, I mean, like, is he on the quest for the Deathly Hallows? Like, I just don't feel like normal people have the time. So, like,
Yeah.
maybe someone would walk up to them and be like, "You're looking for the Elder Wand too? Let's go right now." I don't know.
Yeah, I like that. All they could do is like hold hands and jump
Leave
about
your
it and then like
family.
move on with their life.
Let's go find these Hallows, guys. Come on.
You know who Xenophilius, which, by the way, what is the nickname they call him? Xenos or Zeno?
They call him Zeno.
What if they called him Phil?
I know. We said that last week because I was
shit.
like, if Xenophilius is your friend, what are you calling him? Because
Z.
I'm not going to call him Xenophil. I would call him Z probably.
Z
I'm not
money.
calling him Xenophilius like every time.
But I feel like he reminds me of Haley, like a little bit.
Oh, God.
Maybe
yeah.
a
Always
lot.
down for a quest.
But that's what I mean is like if anyone's down to like Ravenclaw his way into way too much, into way too deep, and like maybe lose his mind a little bit. Like I feel like
That's
it would
Haley.
be Haley. Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm also,
that's
does
Haley.
she have like a lot of like badges and buttons and things that she'll wear as far as like
God.
signaling to other people, like, I'm a safe person, like, come talk to me about this. Like, I don't wear a lot of things that would tell people, like, please come talk to me about this.
There's no part of Haley that says, please come talk to me, except for she says her face says that, but like...
She does. People just
She-
approach her.
She's got mad pins, but none of them are like, please come talk to me.
But
That's
she does
a worst
have like
nightmare.
hella weird gadgets and like
Yeah.
trinkets
Knows.
all around. Yeah.
Yeah, just
I love
like,
that.
like, what's the word? There's a word for it. Not like paraphernalia. I'm a
Thingamabobs?
Whatchamacallit?
Thingamabobs is not wrong. Paraphernalia. Did I spell it right? No, I did not. I did not. But I think that is how you spell it. Paraphernalia. Okay, wait. There's a word. Regalia, accoutrements.
Ooh, accoutrements.
Oh, yeah, those are all great words.
I love
Trappings.
trappings.
Yeah. I'm gonna click on accoutrements, see if it gets me anything else. Because there's still like one more word that I'm like not quite. It doesn't matter, I guess. But there's a word here, guys.
Tchotchkes?
Just no.
Tchotchkes.
Tchotchkes.
Love that one.
The word that I'm looking for is closer. Oh, ephemera. That's the word I was looking for. Is that right?
I don't know
I've
that
heard
one.
Ephemera. Ephemera. Oh, okay. Ephemera. Wait, did I make this up?
That sounds
oh,
like
not
a
ephemera.
first name
Guys.
in Harry Potter.
Okay, ephemera is different. It's ephemera is like things that exist or are used for only a short time, like written or printed, like concert tickets, like
Tampons?
letters. No, tampons
Stubs
not
of
right. I think they
things.
have more value than that. All right, so fuck me. It wasn't
so
the word I was
sorry.
thinking of. So let's go with thingamabobs.
I've got 20.
So, Xenophilius is like, this is from the tale of the three brothers. Do you guys know what that is? And Ron and Hermione are like, yes. And Harry's like, no, I don't listen. I've never read a book or asked a question in my life.
Hermione tells me everything I need to know.
Until now, this was not need to know. So Hermione pulls out, at last, we get to use the tales of Beetle the Bard. So she pulls it out. She starts reading the tale of the three brothers. Three brothers are traveling. They reach a river that is too wide and too deep, and so they magically make a bridge. And I guess no magician has ever done anything like this before, because Death is like, whoa, hey,
who the fuck?
Who the fuck do you think you are? Yeah.
You know what's like kind of crazy is like they say in this tale it's like because Death was cheated. So like has Death never, where wizards knew, like has Death ever
good question.
Encountered a wizard? A magician?
Yeah, because Harry Potter out here using magic to duck death every day.
I mean, I feel like lots of people probably were.
Yeah.
For sure. Maybe he was hungry and set the river trap just special. And they, I don't know. No, that's not it. But.
Actually, saying the word hungry is so intense.
Miyazaki style almost.
I hunger for souls.
Oh my God. A hunger ghost. So Death is like, Death is like, hey, whoa, you did it. You defeated me. You each get a prize. I guess he does this because he's like, and they're gonna have a monkey's paw.
Yeah, it's a classic monkey's paw situation. Yeah.
Okay. So the oldest brother asks for an unbeatable wand. The middle brother asks for the power to bring people back from death because he lost his wife. And the youngest brother is the only smart one, and he asks for something that can hide himself from death, an invisibility cloak. So they each get their things, and then the brothers separate. The oldest brother gets into some fights with his wand and then gets killed over it. Surprise, surprise. Did you think you're going to hear a fable without getting a lesson? No. Here's your lesson. The middle brother brings back his dead fiancée, but it's not the same, so he kills himself. And the third brother lives to be very old and eventually takes the cloak off to walk happily into death.
Oh,
which is really nice.
It's actually a really nice little fable.
I love this fable. But so he's been wearing the invisibility cloak his entire life because it says like, so did he never live? Like, do you know what I mean?
And didn't it say he gave it to his son before he died?
Yeah,
and how do you fuck your wife? How do you meet a wife? Like,
come under the cloak, babe.
There's room enough for two.
Yeah, just like take it out and just like poke your little head out and be like, hey.
Hello. It's cloak time.
Now there's another word I can't think of, but I'm not going to look it up. But it's like metaphor-ish, you know? It's like, you know, it doesn't have to be literal.
Illusion?
No, it's like an adjective. It's like, starts with a P. It's not proverbial, but like, nope, I'm not going to do it. I'm just going to carry on. Yep. It's metaphor-ish. That's the word I am using. Metaphorical is a real word. Just remember this is true. Still not the word I'm looking for. Okay. I am looking it up.
Tina, she literally can't help herself.
I can't help myself if I'm thinking of a word and I can't think of allegorical. Doesn't start with a P at all. It's allegorical.
Yes, that makes sense.
Start with P. Okay, so that's the fable. So we also really like it as like an isolated little unit. Like we like the tale of the three brothers.
Yeah, I think it's nice.
I think it's nice too. And it's like, it feels like you could just have this story in our world too, you know? Because like magic can be a thing in stories.
Yeah.
When I was very young, I read Aesop's Fables. And I feel like this would fit nicely in there.
Is that like the tortoise and the hare?
Yeah, I was going to say, I think actually a lot of those were like animal themed.
Well, they are,
maybe they would have to be
I mean, I don't know
brothers.
if those were edited for, you know, modern children, but this one feels almost German. Like, if you know anything about German, like,
Yes.
children's tales,
Like,
These
they're
stories that
supposed
came out
to
of the
be
Black Forest.
Yes,
they're
scary.
supposed to scare the shit out of you. It's
Yes.
like, oh, if you little kids
Death
don't
is
go to
coming
sleep
for
on
you.
Yeah.
if you don't go to sleep on time, death will come and snip off your nose. Like, as you sleep, like, shit like that.
Yeah, totally. A couple years ago, I had a short story published called "To Have But Slumbered."
Oh, right, Tina.
And it was about, I think that it was like probably in part inspired by this, because the premise is this girl like wakes up and her fiance has brought her back from the dead, like you know, like the middle
Wow.
brother. But instead of him being like, oh, it's not really you, she, who was just reanimated, is like, you have changed so much in order to like bring yourself to do this thing. I am not interested anymore.
Oh,
So I like spun it on its head a little bit.
wow.
Yeah, so I'm sure that was heavily influenced by this. This is a trope, you know, of like bring someone back from the dead. It's not the same. I don't like it. But this is definitely where I'm sure read about it for the first time. Maybe I'll pop the link to that short story in the show notes for anyone who wants to give it a read.
Oh, you should, Tina.
Oh, it was actually exactly 4.5 years ago, and I remember that because when I was like, I think I'm going to start podcasting, I was like, all right, well, let's just like practice. And so the first thing I ever recorded of my own voice was me reading that story. So anyway, so Xenophilius draws the symbol. He's like, you guys are dumb, take a look. Elder wand, circle, is a resurrection stone, triangle cloak. It's actually a pretty cool symbol. I think it's like extraordinarily good for branding when books have these kinds of symbols, like the Mockingjay pin and stuff like that.
The VFDI tattoo, the series of unfortunate events.
Yeah,
That was pretty cool.
Yeah, Mary Clay just got that tattoo on her ankle.
Very cool. I've wanted to. I don't have tattoos, but I was like, that would be a cool tattoo.
That would be really, because only the real ones will know. Mm-hmm. Meanwhile, I just got my Deathly Hallows tattoo covered up for like $1,200.
$1,200.
Gosh.
It's a really big piece. It took a long time.
It looks good.
Thank you so much.
It does.
Hashtag worth it. Xenophilius believes these items exist, but they are technically like mythical. And you know, Hermione and Xenophilius go back and forth a little bit about faith and logic.
Yeah.
Guess
but
who's
there's no
on which
proof.
side? There's no proof. And he's like, exactly. It's hard. It's hard because you can't really prove negative.
Yeah.
But I personally have a hard time believing in stuff that there isn't like evidence for. But he also probably believes there's evidence, you know, like the grave site that has the Deathly Hallows symbol on it and other things like that.
Yeah, and it's like they're kind of using the stone as the real like kicker. Like, okay, so we have an invisibility cloak. Like, okay, that's a coincidence. And maybe there's a powerful elder wand, but that resurrection stone, that is what makes this whole story not true, because that's just impossible.
That's cuckoo bananas. It's like, bro, you've met like 6 other magical stones in your life. You don't think this one is
Yeah.
real?
Yeah, really.
Like
I
Nicholas
mean,
Flamel
it
was
kinda-
like 800 years old or something.
Yes. Yes.
It kind of reminds me of like, I don't know if you guys ever are familiar with the 90s show, The X-Files.
I never watched it,
It's
but I'm
really
familiar with
good.
the memes.
It's really fun. It holds up really well. And it's like, it's 90s and it's really like camp. It's not scary.
Yeah.
And it's like
But sometimes it's a little
UFOs.
scary. Yes. Basically,
Yeah.
it's like 2 FBI agents and the female FBI agent, Scully, who is so hot. And by the way, she's an out lesbian now, that actress. She is always like the science logic person. She's like the Hermione. She's like, I'm the top of my field. I have seen everything, and like I will believe it when I see it, basically,
Yeah.
which is like fair. And then he's like, but there's some stuff out there that like just can't be explained by science.
Isn't
and
that the
regular
premise
logic.
of the X-Files?
It is the premise, and it reminds me
unexplainable.
of this kind of like dynamic between Zeno, aka Phil, and
Phil.
and Hermione during the scene
yeah.
because he just like keeps saying stuff that just makes her so mad. And I'm
Yeah.
like,
And like
Hermione, it's okay.
I totally get that, but I'm kind of with y'all. I'm kind of tired of Hermione being like, that's preposterous. Like, how could you take something from a kid's story and apply it to real life? And it's like, you were plucked out of the muggle world and put into a magical school. It's time for you to realize that sometimes these things happen.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, yeah. I feel like it's something that comes with age, you know, it's like being like, no matter how firmly I believe something or like refuse to believe something, I'm working with like a very limited perspective.
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess that's the difference is that she is like in good ways and bad, a total know-it-all. Like, you know what
She
I mean? Like
knows
she
it
does
all.
know, she knows the most,
Yeah.
for sure. But nobody knows everything. And I think that I don't think that she's like a braggy person or anything, but I think that she trusts her own intelligence above all else, including anybody else's. She's like, no, what I know to be true is true. And so, like, she's like, I never heard of that. I never read about that. I read fucking everything. So you must be lying, you know?
Yeah. And kind of good for her to stand her ground and be like, she was like bursting at the seams, wanting to be like, that's impossible.
She's feisty. She's a feisty little Granger.
They clarify that the invisibility cloak in question is like a true invisibility cloak. Like there's basically like shitty invisibility cloaks. I think we've seen them before or heard about them that have been like charmed or the charm can wear off or stuff like that. But they're like, there's a line where it's like, little did Xenophilius know that a very real invisibility cloak was in the room with them at this very moment.
Yeah. And he was like, can you imagine like whoever had that cloak would be really rich? And I was like, oh, don't tell Ron. He'll sell it for money.
The owner of that cloak is really rich. Harry has a trust fund.
Harry is really rich.
Damn, he was right.
He is
It happened.
He is right. Maybe he's right about everything. He is right. Xenophilius is right about everything. Is he the one who says the rich thing? Or was it? Yeah.
Yeah, I think he's the one that's
Okay.
like, yeah.
So he's explaining that the existence of the Elder Wand or like a very powerful wand is kind of undeniable. It's like easy to trace because it passes violently through history. So I think there's probably other things like this in our real history, you know, like famous jewels or like family treasures of royals or something that have passed like famously from hand to hand. And then we don't know where it is now.
Yeah.
And it's like probably in some rich person, at least in the analogy of our world, it's like probably in some rich person's basement.
It's probably in the
Yeah, or
British
something.
Museum.
Yep.
Like-
Yep.
Honestly, yes. Well, like the
Like,
Hope
that's just where
Diamond
it
went
is.
missing for like famously, right? For like a long
Yeah.
time before it got to the
Wow.
museum. Or
Yeah,
did someone
I wonder
steal
what.
it? No,
I
don't
wonder
know
what
I'm talking about.
that's. No, I think you're right. I wonder what happened to it.
You ever get to the museum and you're like, ooh, the Hope Diamond, and it's just like a kind of like a. I mean, it's a big diamond, but like
A lot of like the most famous stuff is a little disappointing.
Underwhelming. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, when Sean and I saw the Mona Lisa, we were like, "Cool."
It's
There's
it's
a
like
lot
an
of other
8x5.
artwork in this museum.
Yeah.
Right? Isn't it like an 8x5? Like
Yeah, it's tiny.
it's really
What?
small.
No, it's not 8 by 5 inches. Is that
That's
what
the
you're
like
saying?
like computer paper.
You're okay. First of all, 8.5 by 11 is a computer.
Oh, that's
paper,
what I meant
and
to say.
The Mona Lisa, I would say, is like maybe like 2 by 3, or maybe even 3, like 2 by 3 feet. Probably, it's bigger than that.
Well, the problem is like so like they don't want anyone to try to restore it because lest they damage it, and so like it's so caked with centuries of.
Yeah, that's why it's so
Stuff.
dingy.
It doesn't look like what the artist even intended.
Little do they know that if they were to take lemon juice to the back of it and then blow dry it in the heat, it would reveal some invisible ink that would reveal the coordinates of, I forget what the next step of the National Treasure adventure is, but whatever that was.
Benjamin Franklin's glasses.
Yeah, but is that real? You remember that? Good for
Yeah,
you, girl.
bitch. I love that
yeah.
movie.
Hell yeah, I did too.
do
I
It was
love
one
loved
of
it so
our.
much.
It was one of my family's like DVDs we had, so like
Yeah.
we watched
Oh
it
yeah.
on repeat.
I've watched definitely my most watched Nicolas Cage movie.
My mom
yeah.
loves Nicolas Cage because of the movie City of Angels, which
Oh my
is
god! Wait, let me talk to her about it. It's the worst. It's so
famously
funny.
like a really not good movie. But my mom loves the heavy-handed Christian themes, and she's like,
Yeah.
he's so handsome. I'm like, what? And
That's the one where Meg Ryan.
Yes.
he falls in love with Meg Ryan. He's
Yes.
an angel.
Yes.
He falls in love with Meg Ryan, immortal.
Yes.
He decides to give up his immortality to become immortal so he can love Meg Ryan. Meg Ryan is so happy that she goes on a celebratory bike ride down a mountain. She's like, whee, down the mountain, and she closes her eyes and gets hit by a truck and dies. Obviously.
truck that's like logging. Like that's the end of the movie. Spoilers.
I'm so annoyed, one, because I've been yelling into the microphone and I'm gonna have to manually quiet it later, and because and then he's like, oh no, I'm feeling mortal heartbreak. Oh, my heart. Anyway, definitely watch City of Angels. It's so
Okay.
funny.
That's Tina's plug.
Have you seen Longlegs? That's
Yes.
a new-
I haven't seen it yet.
You saw
It's
it?
so good.
Really?
Is it jump scary? Because I don't know if I can handle it. I'm not a horror
Okay.
movie.
Okay, our friend Nico, calling him out, said before I went to see it that there was no jump scares. He was wrong. There's 2 jump scares.
Dang.
But they're not I don't think they're like full jump scares
Yeah.
because both times they are what's the right word? I can't remember any words today, guys. Like
It's
a
really
bait and
obvious
switch.
that they're about to happen. Or...
No, it's like a bait and switch where it's like jump scare, but it's nothing, or it's like not, or it's not as scary as you thought it
Or
was.
it's more
gonna
like
be.
the
You know what I
sound is
mean?
what's so scary.
Yeah, like it's just a couple moments that spooked me, but they made, they weren't like full jumps, like, oh my god, some crazy things jumping out of this, but it's like the music was pretty intense, so like maybe like the music would change really quickly
I always know
while the camera changed.
Whenever I see scary movies, I hear the music and then I cover, and then I use my thumbs to close my ears and my hands to cover. My
Yeah. Oh, I can't do it. But I do love, like,
fragile.
I've heard it's kind of psychological, like Silence of the Lambs a little bit.
Oh,
I love
maybe
those
I'm
type
a
of
little
movies.
bit more paranormal, but my Josh he'll watch a scary movie, but I really don't like them.
I get it. You know why people compare it to Silence of the Lambs? Because the main character is an FBI bitch with a gun. She spends half the movie with her gun straight out going. So definitely Silence of the Lamb parallels there. Sorry, Dante. My cat was like, "Are you dying?"
What was he gonna do?
I recommend Longlegs, Ashley. I don't think it will be too scary.
Maybe we'll try it out.
Maybe in broad daylight, watch it.
Yeah.
That's what I do.
There's one thing I didn't look at, but that's because they were like, this fucked up thing's a coming. And I'm like, okay, I'm not going to look at it. And they're like, what?
Can't trick
Anyway,
me.
let's cover that on up. And I'm like, thank you. Okay, how did we get here? Wow, what on earth?
I actually don't know.
I don't know either.
So Hermione asks about the Peveril family. Remember their grave with the Deathly Hallows symbol on it? And he's like, "Oh ho, you have misled me." I love the way he talks, kind of, when he's not being like very anxious. You come here under false circumstances or whatever. You do know what you're talking about, don't you? And she's
Yeah.
like, "No, we don't know anything." But the Peveril brothers are the brothers from the story, so now we not only know that the invisibility cloak very well could exist and that the wand, there's at least evidence for it existing, but we also have literally laid eyes upon the grave of the brothers.
Yeah.
So,
Funny is the Peveril. I could be wrong, but Ashley, you may know. Isn't that the name of the siblings from Narnia too?
oh yeah,
Pevensey.
that's probably true. Oh,
Lucy
Pevensey.
Pevensey.
Fuck, you're right.
Very close.
Okay, very close.
I feel like this is all just circling. Is it Percival? Yeah, that was King Arthur's like family name, I think.
I don't know. But Narnia was one of our family DVDs that got stuck in my
Definitely
mom's Honda Odyssey DVD player for a time. So we just watched
Oh, wait.
it over and over again.
King Arthur's family name was Pendragon. Hold on.
There's a lot of pens happening. Pevs and pens.
Who is Percival? He's a knight. Okay, so I was in the right lore, but the wrong person.
The wrong Percy.
The wrong Percival. So Xenophilius asked them to stay for dinner, and he takes their tea tray downstairs. Thank you for giving us an opportunity to touch base about what we've learned. So what do we think? Hermione says this is bullshit.
Yeah.
It's like, bitch, what if it wasn't bullshit? Sean gets on me about this kind of thing all the time. Because I have kind of the same thing where I just like think very quickly and then I make my decision and I'm very confident in it. And almost all of the time that works perfectly fine for me. You know, like it usually is fine. But I do have this habit of being very quick to say no to stuff. Sean's like, could we do this? And also just like our marital dynamic is like he's the one who's like, here's a dream. And I'm like,
yes,
no.
there's a dreamer and then there's the realistic one.
Yeah, which one are you?
I'm the dreamer, and I couldn't marry a dreamer. I'd be homeless in an hour. So
Yeah,
Josh
right?
is the one that has to tell me no.
Yeah.
Leela, what about you and Jason? Do you guys take on those roles or?
We're kind of like both dreamers, I guess, and
and not homeless. So congratulations.
Yeah, not homeless, like out of luck. Like that's the thing is like we just get really lucky, and I don't know how I'm still
Have
here.
a lot of fun.
We have here an autistic lad and an ADHD girl, and it's heavy on the ADHD, not heavy on the tism, I wouldn't say, but heavy on the ADHD.
Medium rare autism.
Medium rare tism.
Just a touch of tism.
Yeah, just a touch of the tizzy. That's what we say at my work all the time. A touch of the tizzy to you. But so like the autism does good stuff, like for for him, like hyper focus on things. Like if he really gets interested, he can be like, I want to focus on our finances.
But I was gonna say, does he have any control over where the focus goes? Because that's Sean's kryptonite.
And that is
he's
sort of the
great
problem.
at the hyper focus, but sometimes it's 4.5 straight weeks
Misdirected.
of 3D printer hyper focus.
Yeah, and then I'm just like I'm never focused really, so it would be good to have one of the two, and so I guess Jason sort of fell more into that role. I'm a Pisces with ADHD, so my heads are always in the clouds.
I was about to say Josh is a
More than one
Virgo,
head.
and so he's very analytical. He's very organized. He knows like our bank account down to the cent at all times. And I am just like in those videos that are like, I'm spinning like a ballerina. Like, I just have fun. Yeah. I'm just a girl.
I don't know, what do I need to do? I'm just a girl.
There's a meme that's like, when I'm with my husband, I literally only use one single brain cell.
No, it's not my problem. It's not
I feel
my gas
that
tank
way.
is empty. That's not my problem. My oil change light's on. Not my problem.
Things that I can do perfectly fine when he's not around. I'm like, Sean, can you?
Yeah, I'm like, can you hand me the remote? I'm just a girl.
Right.
Okay.
Okay.
So everyone's like, okay, okay, Leela, Ashley, on the count of 3, say which Hallow you would pick. Okay? Let me think about my answer first.
Oh, I've got mine, baby.
Okay. 1, 2, 3. The
Wand.
wand.
Elder Wand.
Nope. 3. Chaos.
Oh.
Chaos.
I thought everyone would pick the cloak. Interesting.
I'm not good at being invisible. My
no,
mouth runs
I
my
want
mouth
powers.
too hard.
I
want power.
magic. I'm not a sneaky. I'm not a sneaky girl. You're gonna hear me
Yeah.
coming, invisibility, cloak or not.
I've read way too much fucked up sci-fi fantasy to even begin to think about bringing back the dead.
I'm not
doing
interested
that.
in that either. I mean, it's like there's always an emotional element of like, oh, what if I could see, my whatever again.
Yeah.
But like, I mean, what I also like thought like, what happens if they got cremated? Like, what's gonna happen then? I mean, am I dumb? Like, or are they just like, how does it actually happen? Like, is she like wakes up and she's in a coffin and she's like, what the fuck? Or is it like how does it happen?
It seems like kind of Corpse Bride. Like it's almost their ghost version. Like
Yeah.
it's kind
Okay,
of just
ghost
their soul,
version.
you know, and like they're cold and maybe you can't touch them. Kind of like what Harry sees when his like parents and everything come out of his wand, like Priori and Cantatum. They're just kind of like a figure, and like it looks and sounds like his dead parents, but like
Oh.
you can't really interact with them more than that.
Yeah, okay.
But like
But
I
just, like-
do, I almost said stone because I am pretty codependent on my husband, and like if I lost him, but then like I would probably end up like the second brother. I'd be like, I can't stand this. Like I'm coming with you.
Oh
It's just
my
not.
God.
It's not the right decision. But I
Yeah.
feel you too. I mean, I really like can't even think about it for more than 3 seconds, or else I'll start to cry. But like, I really can't. But if I mean, obviously that would be extremely tempting, like just to see his face one more time. But then, like, that's not going to be
can't.
enough.
No, that's not healthy.
I would never.
No.
Yeah. I also just kind of think that if anyone's going to have the Elder Wand, I do just really like trust myself. And I'm like, if someone's got to have it, I would really like to know
Yeah,
that someone
I
with their head
wouldn't-
on right has it.
I wouldn't do evil. I would be pretty selfish, but not in an evil way.
Not in an evil way. Where's
How
the line?
can you use your wand to like? Because what I want is to like pay off all my debt.
Yeah,
And, like,
and you like can't make
Yeah.
money. Can you like? Or,
well, I think it would have to be
They say you can't.
alongside of it, right? Like,
Here's the thing. They always say stuff in these books like you can't make money from nothing.
Yeah.
You can't make food from nothing. But they never take any time at all to creatively explore the loopholes to that, because if you could maybe like not produce money from nothing, because I don't know why should magic know what money, you know what I mean? You should be able to like duplicate coins or whatever. Like you gotta start exploring for loopholes, like maybe you can magic your crochet to do itself and make really cool things and
Yeah.
get rich from selling on Etsy
or like
something
Josh,
like that.
So my husband is a financial advisor, and he is working with this like really crabby old man who has got a lot of money and refuses to name a beneficiary. He does not want to name one. And Josh is like, it does not have to be a person. It can be a charity. It can be a church. And he is just like,
Yeah.
if I have to put a beneficiary down, I'm pulling all my money. I don't know, whatever. Anyways, I don't think
Whoa.
he has a beneficiary. So maybe I would just like imperious that man to make me his
Ooh.
beneficiary. Because like he doesn't have a lot of time
Actually,
left.
that's genius. And I was like, where is she going with this?
And
This
like,
is genius.
I mean, 3-4 years. Let's be honest. I'm probably going to come into a big stack. So, Elder Wand it is.
Wow.
I'm not
Yeah,
above
then
the
you would
Imperious
donate
curse.
some of that to charity.
Right.
Sure.
No, I really would.
Wow.
That's a really smart idea.
Yeah. See, creative loopholes, y'all. That's all I ask for. These characters are like, can't make food. Guess we'll starve. Like, what on earth?
Accio potato.
Sash, remind me what house you are again,
I'm
or
a
that you
Gryffindor.
identify with.
Did you
Okay.
guess? Would you have guessed?
I guess, yeah, I probably would have.
You kind of have Gryffindor. You kind of have like Golden Retriever energy,
But, like, in a
little more
smarter
low key
way.
than that, but like very perky and like friendly.
Spaniel
Thank you.
energy.
I do think I'm on a Hufflepuff cusp as well. But I
love that
just,
for you.
That tracks.
I'm very, very loud. I'm not afraid to be wrong, and I'm wrong a lot. I just think I'm a Gryffindor.
I think fearlessness and confidence in yourself leads a lot of room for creativity. So, like, I think that's a good thing. We should all get together sometime and, like, find a way to, like, take over the world. But the
Yeah.
problem is we don't have the Elder Wand. But
Not yet.
Yeah.
I was just watching Once Upon a Time today, and they reassembled this great old wand. So it's been a wand lore kind of day for
guess
me.
Let's
Yeah,
start
Tina.
calling it the Death Stick. Did you guys
there
know
another-
that?
I did
It's like
see
one
Death
of the
Stick.
nicknames for it.
Don't think too much. It's a death stick.
Take a ride
Tina,
on your-
on your
your big death
stick. Death stick. Tina, did you also have another wand today that you had fun with?
What?
Did you masturbate today?
Oh, no. I did not masturbate today specifically. And I actually don't usually use a vibrator.
I really
Oh,
don't.
just
I
the
know.
old one too.
Just the old one too? Yeah, that's my
Interesting.
preferred method. I
As
own
you
a
can see, I
vibrator.
can't
I'm
do
not
that.
an animal.
Yeah.
But-
Yeah.
The nails are too serious. No, my nails are kept very short and practical, you know, for like house projects and masturbating.
House project and masturbation, yeah.
Okay. So we're talking about like the legends of all of these like overpowered wands through history. Are they all the same? I don't know. And then Ron is talking about how their cloak does seem to be like extra invisible.
Yeah, like this one's really good.
So, and then Harry finds Luna's room up a staircase and goes up. Would you actually go up into her room in this circumstance?
I don't know if I would if I were Harry or if I looked up and saw a picture of my face. I would. That's an invitation. I would go right up.
I kind of forgot that's how it goes.
And now that I'm thinking about it, yeah, I would just go straight up. It seems like I'm trying to picture Xenophilius' house. It seems like, you know, those shotgun houses in New Orleans where they're very long and it's just kind of one room after another. I picture it's like that, except vertical. And so, like, the
Straight
kitchen
up.
is one floor, and then, like, their den is another floor. Yeah, I gotta say, I would just walk right up. I mean,
That is too much stairs. I believe
so
that is too much stairs.
much walking.
You can just say, like, Accio myself to that room.
Yeah.
I wish the listeners had gotten to see you boop yourself in the head for that one.
Yeah.
So yes, the ceiling is painted with Harry, Ron, Hermione, Neville, and Ginny. Yeah. Because like if the three of us were standing in someone's living room and especially if we saw a picture of all three of us, it was like, we're going.
Yeah.
I like-
You gotta see what's going on.
when I was younger, I didn't really get the appeal of Luna. I know that a lot of people liked her, and I was like, it seemed like it was the girls that are like, I'm quirky and random. I like Luna, and I was like,
Yeah.
I just like
feel you.
the normal ones because I'm cool.
I like the normal one.
But now, like, I felt a great rush of affection for Luna. I was like, oh my gosh, her friends. And, like, Hermione's not even that nice to her. And she's got a
I
whole
know.
picture in her
I kind of
room.
think
I know.
none of them are really that nice to her.
No,
honestly.
Harry,
wait,
like,
who's-
avoids
Ronald?
her. Yeah.
Ronald?
What girl has he ever been nice to?
Ron's so
Okay,
mean to her.
I just want to recap.
Not to
I
her,
think-
but about her.
I think it was in the last book, Ron, after like all of these years, like says something to stand up for Luna. And they're like, wow, surprising. Harry does do his best to avoid her until he like needs her. He took her on to that
Yeah.
party, Slughorn's Christmas party.
He enjoys
so when
her
he
company.
he enjoys her company like when it serves him. I feel like sometimes he can still be. It's like if you really love a friend, you're like, look at those awesome, crazy things you're wearing right now. Like, you know what I mean? Like Harry just, I think maybe doesn't know how to be a friend generally. Hermione, I feel like would say she loves Luna, but can't help but being
Almost
Yeah.
like a pet.
cunty little logic bitch. Yeah.
I mean, and again, I don't know if this is like a Britishism. You know, we don't know what British high school kids are like, but I like in my heart to think that like all teenagers are kind of the same. And in America, I mean, let me just tell you, in America, like in the last episode that just came out last week when this comes out of Burn Before Reading, Tina is talking to her high school friends, and
Yes.
one of her friends is a lady, and at the time in 2003, flare jeans, like flare, kind of like bell-bottom jeans, were like kind of like all you were supposed
long
to wear.
and lean fit
Mud.
specifically.
oh yeah,
Yes.
yes,
Yeah.
I had those.
Like that was what you were supposed to wear, and kind of like all the other jeans, like it's weird. I remember the feeling, like felt like I remember my mom bought me some non-flare jeans, and I'm like, oh, these are like really unflattering. These are so uncool. I hate them.
Yeah.
And like, and Tina's friend wore bootcut jeans, probably because that's what her mom bought her. You know,
She was
what
a
she
horse
had.
girl.
Yeah,
She
it
rode
was not
horses.
Yes, that
And,
we had a
um,
girl, Randy. She rode horses and she wore bootcut jeans.
See? And instead of like, and even in Tina's like remembrance of high school, even in that rhetoric, she was not like, oh, I remember how like you dress like such a dork, because we'll call out our friends for being dorks, but like she was just like, honestly, I saw her pulling them off and I was just like, oh my gosh, like maybe I want to get bootcut jeans.
Yeah.
And so then she bought them for that reason, because it's like she respected her friend and like really like respected her decisions, and it's like it doesn't take that much, and I almost like that, like what is the snobbery? I mean, it's just gotta be like Sleepy Joanne just like slipping in there again and just being, I don't know, like putting her own stuff on there. I don't know, but I hate how mean everyone and unaccepting everyone is to Luna in this series.
Yeah.
And it hurts my feelings, and how she's written and everything. I'm like, I don't give a fuck. Like even the weirdest astrology girl at your high school isn't really treated like that. Like,
yeah. Well, we haven't mentioned in the painting are also Neville and Ginny, and I think those two are actually Luna's friends.
I think they are very nice to her.
Yeah, they're nice.
And she has a picture of her mom.
I know.
Oh, that looks like her.
And then like around everyone's faces, it's like a chain of the word friends
glitter
over and over
in
and over.
Gold. Yeah. And he said that it's not magical. Like it's not a photograph. The pictures aren't moving. And she like has artistic skills because she made the lion head that roared. Like I believe that she painted this, and Harry was like, it looked like the pictures of her breathing. She's very talented.
Dang,
she is very
so
talented. She's also too pure for this world. And she's currently in prison in a dark basement.
I did, and Harry did notice that, like, in the picture of her and her mom, he says that she looks the most groomed that he's ever seen her. And it made me sad because
that is really, that line cuts.
I know, like, her dad doesn't know what to tell her to do with, like, her massive blonde hair. And sometimes, like, I don't know, girls and their moms, I'm like, oh, it just broke my heart.
Yeah. Yeah.
I get that a lot about like girl dads, they're like, they're doing their best, but they may not know how to tell you to properly like groom yourself, or like.
Also, I wonder, like, are they usually doing their best? That's a question I have.
Yeah.
Not the tier.
Because if they're not like just researching what their daughter needs and making it happen.
Xenophilius was probably the dreamer in the couples, and their mom was probably a little bit more realistic, and now he's like too focused on his dribbleable plums to teach his daughter how to match her socks.
Yeah. Leela, are you weeping?
No.
Why are you weeping?
I just thought about how hard it would be to grow up without a mom. I'm so sorry.
I could cry too.
It's honestly so embarrassing to love your mom sometimes.
It sucks, man. I just talked to her today. She sucks, and I love her so much.
Yeah,
it's
complicated.
It's so complicated.
Save it for a bonus episode of Burn before reading.
God, I forgot where I was. I'm so sorry, Ashley. You're getting to really know the real me. Our first meeting.
This is Leela for Reela.
If it weren't you, it would be me. These days, it takes every Olympics commercial in tears. I'm just wrong. These days it takes nothing. And it's like one of those Eli Lilly commercials, like a huge pharmaceutical company. I'm like, I hate you. Why are you making me cry?
I hate you. Yeah, I get. I'd be catching cries.
Think about this. The Luna's room is like obviously has not seen use in some time. Mm-hmm. It is like dusty.
Like an
no
inch of
clothes.
Dust.
Yeah, like you can tell if someone's been living in their room.
Yeah.
So then so they're like, huh, and then enter Xenophilius, and Harry's like, where's Luna? And Xenophilius is like, I fucking said she was fishing.
She's gone fishing. Y'all want dinner or not? She's bringing back fish for us to eat. He's country in my mind.
Yes.
Yeah.
My name is Xenophilius.
Xenophilius. Oh, Lunar? No, she's down in the creek.
Lunar? That's that Bama girl. That
The Twilight shitposting group on Facebook that I love so much, they almost exclusively refer to her as Beller.
Oh, Beller.
Oh, Baylor.
So Xenophilius is like, Luna is obviously fishing, and so they're like, okay, well, why did you only make lunch for 4? And he's like,
Gotcha.
and then Hermione notices that the Quibblers are printing undesirable #1 propaganda. So they're like, you alerted the ministry. And Zeno reveals that they took Luna.
They took my Luna.
They took my Luna.
Also, Xenophilius, that actor, is currently playing Otto Hightower on Hot D, House of the Dragon.
Hot D! I was like, what on earth?
They don't look anything alike. I was so surprised.
Oh, interesting.
I also have one of my worst fears is getting kidnapped, and I have this recurrent nightmare that's kind of like this scene where I'm in this dream and I'm at like a stranger's house for some reason. Like maybe I'm selling something, whatever. But I slowly start to realize in this dream that it's always a man, obviously. And I realize that he does not intend to let me leave. And the like fear that comes over my body when I'm
my God.
When he's like still being perfectly pleasant, but I'm like looking around and I'm realizing like he's
Putting it together.
He's gonna keep me here. That's like
Oh my
worst
God.
part. And I have a nightmare about it sometimes. And I feel like in the movie it's a little more eerie than it is here, where they're kind of more accusatory and they like want to get to the bottom of it. In the movie, there's kind of an eerie sense of like, what is going on?
You do?
Yeah. Ugh, that's so funny.
I know. I didn't mean
I
to
feel like-
scare you.
I feel like I never think about how creepy this is like that, because Xenophilius, I don't think does like any magic and doesn't try anything. You know what I mean? He's just like not very threatening.
No. And I think he just like also is supposed to be like, he's a total non-threat. It's
he's
Luna's
pathetic.
dad. What's gonna
Yeah.
happen? I think that's why it's so good. Like why it's such a good betrayal.
Yeah. Okay, Ashley, if you were Xenophilius in this position, what would you do?
Like, okay. The one thing that stuck out to me, I always have long answers, I'm sorry. One thing that stuck out to
Please.
me was when Harry notices that Xenophilius throws his arms in front of the staircase to block them from leaving. And he gets like a flashback to his mom throwing her, I'm sorry, Layla, bringing up the moms again, throwing her arms in front of his crib to try to stop Voldemort. And it's like he recognizes that primal parental instinct that kicks in like subconsciously. And if it were my daughter, like I don't even have kids, and if it were my daughter, nobody is safe. Nobody. Ethics, morals, greater good, out the window. I would have bound them up when I opened the door and saw his face and been like, come and get him. He's right here. And the sad thing is, and it usually is with these situations, is like even if he had turned Harry over, these people are bad. They probably wouldn't have given
bad.
Luna back.
That's
to
what
him.
I was gonna ask, if you would believe them.
Yeah, I would. I would have to.
Yeah, you kind of have to. Lila, what do you think? What would you do if you were Xeno?
I think I would. I'd like to think I would try to think of anything else I could do, even to include, try to secretly like include Harry. I mean, how could he? He didn't know where they were, but like to secretly include Harry in it or Hermione in it. You know what I mean? To just be like, this is what I don't know. I don't know what I would do. I guess I would do. I guess I would have to do the same thing. I would need my baby back.
Could you say like, look, they took Luna. Like when you guys leave, can you please make her a priority? Like think about the wizarding world later. Can you please? They do come across her.
They do soon. And I don't know how much Xenophilius knows about Harry, but like if you tell Harry that Luna's been abducted, he's gonna feel like that's his personal problem to resolve now.
And storm Malfoy Manor.
Personally storm. Yeah, that's the thing about these Griffies, babe.
Yeah.
Like it's like they do have your back through no matter what. So yeah. I wish he had known. That would have been a better plan, because I haven't read the rest of this book yet, and I'm very scared about what happened to him or Luna.
Oh, okay. Well,
She dies, right? Like everyone dies.
Who?
Yeah, okay.
I would probably, I think, do. Well, I forgot. Leela, did you just say this? I would probably tell them. I'd be like, "Hey, they literally have Luna, and
Yeah.
they want me to turn you guys in. I'm not gonna do that, but like, you gotta give me something though. Like, you gotta, you either gotta like tell me something good or like, like go get her. Like, yeah.
And then if they don't, you're turning in a child. It is what it is.
Yeah.
Take this child for my child. This child
Yeah.
has no father. I am the father.
He doesn't have parents.
Mother.
I can't remember why we really care about the Deathly Hallows. Like, I know,
That's a great thing to point out.
like, I know the wand is important because, like, I think that's what Voldemort is looking for. But I can't really remember why the Deathly Hallows matter. It's the title of the book.
Here's the thing. Yep. Here's
It's
the thing.
giving Prince that was promised Jon Snow is a Targaryen, and for what?
and for
And for
what?
what?
And for what? Exactly.
Fuck. I ain't over that yet.
No.
Yeah, like I really believe that the first draft of this book was 250 pages and it just would not have sufficed.
Imagine.
So they had to
Bit of
build a side quest,
Yes.
a mutual side quest that like Harry and Voldemort can both be interested in because yeah, it's like arty and like cool and like it comes back slightly at the end a little bit, but like yeah, it is not nearly as connected as you would want it to be.
I guess because their wands have, like their magic wands, have kind of become, like they don't want to kill each other. And so I guess his logic is like, I need this elder wand to kill Harry. Okay, I think I'm back on track. Okay, I got it.
Yeah, that's his logic. But there's no good reason that the wand... Because Voldemort has not been using his own wand recently.
Yeah.
So there's no longer any good reason for Harry's wand to be responding to that way.
Yeah.
So
and Harry's wand is broken too, isn't it?
Yes,
Yeah.
Yep, it is. And so, like, that, it's just, that's the kind of thing that makes it feel so side questy, is it's like, it's kind of like in direct conflict with, like, other things that are happening. So, there are now dudes on brooms outside.
Dudes
Yeah.
on brooms outside.
Xenophilius tries to stun the trio, and he explodes the erumpent horn. Remember that?
Yeah.
Remember last episode when I said Chekhov's erumpent horn? Here she goes. And they are all, therefore, exploded.
Yeah.
Like they get literally exploded. They're fine. There's this joke that I like to do that's like not really a good joke, but I just do it a lot. You know, the way that dads do sometimes, where any action movie I'm watching, almost every explosion should injure the characters like way
Yes.
more than it does.
Yes.
And so every time there's an explosion, I like to go, they're okay. They're okay. And they always are.
Yeah.
They always are.
Ron has like this big heavy armoire on his legs. Like that
Yes.
would break his legs. You don't just like when two people have to lift it off of him, he's not just gonna pop up.
I know.
Let's get out of here, gang.
So, like, under the rubble, Harry and Hermione find each other. Oh my god, triggered to the Nick Cage 9/11 movie. Okay.
I was going to say 9/11.
So Harry and Hermione find each other and keep quiet.
All my dreams were gone.
No, that's okay. That's
Worked
fine.
for all my life.
So Xenophilius and the Death Eaters go back and forth. Apparently, he's like the boy who cried Harry. Like, I guess maybe he's done this
Or like,
before.
yeah, he's like, come here. I've got crumple-horned snore.
Oh, yeah.
Or whatever. But I mean,
He's just
bless
kind
him.
of
He's just
kooky.
trying to get his daughter back.
Yeah. So we don't actually. That's another point to his perspective. Is like we don't know what he's tried so far. You know, he might have tried a lot of ways to get her back.
That's true.
We don't know. But the Death Eaters do hominin hominum revelio, and Harry kind of like feels it like swoop over
Yeah,
him.
that's crazy.
I think that's a cool spell.
Yeah.
Xenophilius tries to get up to grab them. They are like digging out Ron. What are we gonna do? What are we gonna do? I do kind of remember the panic of reading this for the first time as a kid.
Yeah.
This book I think I remember reading more than any other book because it's most recent and most like
Anticipated.
I wanted
me.
it more. Yeah, most exactly. So Hermione is like, "Do you trust me?" Which obviously yes. Who
You're
are we going
the
to trust?
only
if not
one with
Hermione?
ideas.
She tells Ron to put on the invisibility cloak. She tells both boys to grab her.
He's such a little
Just shut the
bitch.
fuck up.
Yeah, just
shut the
do
fuck
it,
up, Ronald.
Ron. God.
Shut up.
You'd
So
be
then-
underneath the dresser if it weren't for us. Put on the
This
clothes.
is like this set of moves reminds me of like trying to do something really specific in a video game but I have to die and try it again like 29 times before I get it right. Hermione gets it right the first time. Ron goes under the cloak. She tells both boys to grab her. When Xenophilius gets to the top of the stairs, she obliviates him. So he can't remember what they were asking about. Then she blasts through the floor so they fall down so that the Death Eaters can get a look at her and Harry before they leave so they'll at least know Xenophilius wasn't lying. Ron's under the invisibility cloak because he's supposed to be home with Spattergroit.
Right.
And she knows that, like, if he's seen with Harry, that they'll go after his family next in the same way. I don't know how she thought of all of that in a split second. I guess because she
It's
was
so
written
good.
Yeah, but she's so good.
And it's kind of character development because a lot of the time in moments of high stress like this, Hermione kind of panics and blinks. I'm thinking about you, Devil Snare.
Yeah. Are you a witch or
Are
not?
you a witch or not?
Yes, this is really, really impressive.
It's cool, and then they just disapparate away. It's really cool. Thank God for Hermione.
Yeah.
That is the end of the chapter. Ashley, do you have any like favorite moments or things we didn't mention or shout outs?
No, I really like this chapter. I like the little animation in the movie. Like I said, I like Taylor mentioned last week, you know, like just seeing the points that people are pushed to, like in war, like, you know, a bit of like psychology. I like it. And I'm just really happy to be out of those woods.
So true.
Yeah, agreed. Leela, any final words?
To quote philosopher Taylor Swift, are we out of the woods yet? Are we out of the woods yet? Are they out of the woods yet? Are we out of the woods? Wish I cleared my throat first.
Leela, I've noticed that, especially over on Burn Before reading it, whenever I can tell when you're about to do a singing bit because you always clear your throat first, and I always leave it in because I think it makes it just a little bit funnier.
Yeah, we are out of the woods. We are out of the woods.
Yeah, and like
now.
I think shit really is starting now. Okay, because the next chapter, I don't know what happens in that one. It's called the Deathly Hallows. I don't fucking know. It might just be like a thinking chapter. There's at least one other thinking chapter in this.
Yeah, because
book.
I can't remember where they go from here. I don't
They
know.
go back to the woods briefly. Okay, so we're not back, you know. And
We're
then
Back to the woods yet? Are we back to the woods yet?
and then
Oh yeah, and they're like running from the snatchers, and then it
Snatchers.
ends. Oh, that is so
Malfoy
good.
Manor.
I really like
yeah.
part one.
Yeah, it's really good. It's really well because the second part is almost all one day.
It's one, yeah.
So
and we're almost
we-
to that day, aren't we?
yep, yeah, we are. We'll be there by the end of September.
Wow.
I know, or like like the night before the day of the battle. You know, there's not going to be any more time skips. Yeah, I'm really excited, guys. You know, I'm excited. The end of this book is fun and good. You know,
Yeah.
and maybe it's because I can see the finish line. I'm like, I'm loving this.
Crazy.
Yeah, it's like fun again, kind of. Am I wrong?
It feels a little bit fun.
Yeah.
This book is great. Let me tell you.
It's got stuff for sure. Yeah, definitely a lot less notes. I think we also kind of have had fun with Half-Blood Prince. It's definitely gotten only better since Order of the Phoenix.
Yeah. Yeah. That one drags.
Awesome. Well, let's move on to plugs. Ashley, would you like people to find you on the internet?
I would love people to. Let's see. I am in the Discord. like every day. So come on there and get to know me. I have an Instagram. It's Sashley Harden. And I also now have a food Instagram where I post things that I cook. The name of that is Pane Americana. It looks like Pain Americana. I don't know why I named it that instead of something like Ashley Cooks. But you can also follow me there. And that's about
awesome.
it.
Ooh, I will.
Okay. What's something you've been reading, watching, playing, listening to, thinking about, experimenting with lately you think the listeners would enjoy?
Oh, yeah. I didn't really think too much about a plug. Last week, Josh and I finished this show on Apple TV Plus called Presumed Innocent. And it does star Jake Gyllenhaal, which is ugh, but it was really good. He does good. It's like a courtroom drama, murder mystery, and like the ending was good. We didn't, we didn't guess what the ending was like. So if you have Apple TV Plus and you're done with Ted Lasso, try Presumed Innocent.
Hell yeah. Leela, what are you plugging this week?
I would like to plug this week another X show, but not the X-Files. I would actually like to plug a show I've been watching a lot recently. That would be Xena Warrior Princess. Legendary, great show. It stars the iconic Lucy Lawless as Xena, and Renee O'Connor plays Gabrielle, who is like her, let's just say handmaiden. More like gay maiden. It is has
And Gaiden was
Gaiden. Okay, sorry, that made me excited. It has very strong queer overtones. But it was filmed from 1995 to 2001, so obviously that's not allowed. And so it's other than that, it's just campy fun with hot Lucy Lawless. She's so smirky. It's filmed in New Zealand, and I just have a personal fondness for like New Zealand humor and New Zealand accents. I think they're just delightful. And even though it takes place in ancient Greece, it is filmed in New Zealand, and it definitely looks like Lord of the Rings the whole time.
Hell yeah.
I was gonna say the landscape.
Yeah, it's so epic and beautiful, and a lot of the characters are just like clearly like local New Zealand actors, and trying their best to do a neutral accent, and it's hard because the New Zealand accent is anything but neutral. So even Lucy Lawless, like her accent that she's is probably the best out of all of them, and she sounds a lot like Sam O'Neill, who does what's his face from Jurassic Park, like the
Dr.
the main
Grant.
scientist. You can kind of tell that he's doesn't have an American like he's trying to do an American accent, but he doesn't. That's like what hers sounds like. Anyway, I love dialects, so that's why I brought it up. You just watch it. It's, I don't know, streaming somewhere. Just look it up. It's great.
Good plug, Leela.
Thank you.
I've been your host, Christina. You know where to find me. And this week I'm going to plug Uglies by Scott Westerfeld.
Whoa, what a throwback.
Right?
We're going to be covering it, sneak peek on Friend Before Reading coming up here because the Netflix movie is coming out September 13th, all these years later. That book is 19 years old. Yeah.
That's probably like the first sci-fi sort of YA I ever read. It was in my middle school library, and you're like, a book called Uglies.
Yes. First of all, the secondhand copy I have has a sticker on the inside that's like a gift from this student to this teacher, which I think is like very cute. It's a $4.99 Scholastic Book Fair edition.
Dang.
And
what a time.
Yeah.
I know. It originally came out in 2005, which is probably the year I read it. And I definitely read science fiction before that, but this was the very first of that YA dystopia craze. It came out before Hunger Games, 2 years before Hunger Games, and before Divergent. It came out before all that stuff. And I remember being like so rocked by this book. I was like, this is crazy good. I've never read anything like this before. Like, I'm intellectual because I read this book.
Does it hold up?
I mean,
I get, for a YA novel.
Was I like, this is revolutionary thinking? No. But I enjoyed it the whole time. It was super fun. I was like, it's crazy that a dude wrote like a 16-year-old girl character. I hate when that happens, but like some dudes just do it well. And it's literally so much fun. Like magnet hoverboards and like crazy plastic surgery. It's just like it was so cute and sweet, and I just loved it so much.
Cool.
I can't wait to finish reading it. I'm excited.
Hell yeah.
I'm excited to cover it.
Look for that over on Burn Before Reading sometime in September. And yeah, the movie comes out, I think, September 13th. So I'm excited for that, because I feel like if they had done the movie in like 2006, the computer graphics would have been not nearly as good as they should be to like create a world like this.
Yeah, it would not be good.
I do remember hearing that the movie got optioned like 12 years ago, like a long time ago. So it's cool that they finally did something with it, because it could be cool. Could be cool. Hell yeah. Thank you so much to the both of you for coming on this episode. I've had a wonderful time, especially you, Ashley.
I can't do it. Thank God for Burn Before Reading, because like I've completely built friendships based on, because I decided to listen to you assholes talk about Harry Potter in Richmond, Virginia, and now I'm like, these are my friends.
Yes.
It's been a great time.
We are your friends.
Yeah.
And we definitely need to get you on Burn Before Reading. So this is not the end of your podcast guesting days, for
Definitely not. Yeah, I'm not on a podcast like some previous guests are, but I love to yap. So invite me on all of yours, you out there.
That's all you need.
That's really all it is. All it takes, honestly.
All of my favorite podcasts are just silly girls yapping.
My favorite podcast category is two girls yapping. And I love Burn Before Reading so much.
Yes.
Two girls, one yap.
I have to say, Burn Before Reading and Content and Capable, they're like the two non-fandom podcasts on the network, right? They are the two best like organic podcast ideas I've ever heard of. Like I really think that you two might be famous.
Wow.
It is so good.
Oh my God.
Remember
Thank
me
you so much.
Well, we can give full credit to Tina for that idea. She had a smart idea, because she had so much content from all the notes and
I
clue
wish I had
catchers she passed.
kept. I wasn't a big writer. Like I loved to read fan fiction and stuff when I was younger. I nerded out about everything. I never really wrote. I knew it wasn't for me. So I wish I had some like old embarrassing archives I could dig up.
Yeah, well, we'll get you on for something. We'll get you on for something. Yeah, Two Girls Yapping. One of my favorite podcasts that usually talks about feminism, Sad Girls Against the Patriarchy. Today they released like a double episode, twice as long as their usual episodes. Just this one girl talking about her recent breakup for 90 minutes. And I'm like, good for you, girl. And I listened to every single minute of it. And I was like, he did what? No way.
They did that with like my podcast that got me into listening to podcasts, and Guys We Fucked. I don't know if you ever heard of that, Ashley.
Yes, I have, and one of their names is Ashley.
Yeah.
It's been a couple years since I've listened to them, but Two Girls Yapping.
Ashley is from Celebrity Memoir Book Club, but they're Corinne and Christina, actually.
Okay.
And one episode, Christina had been dating the same guy for like 9 years, and she like finally broke up with him, and so it was just called the breakup episode.
Whoa.
And they didn't even interview anybody or anything, and
dangerous to date a bitch with a podcast, because that breakup is going to be aired.
And I can tell you, I feel like that's probably one of the most listened to episodes of their podcast.
Damn, that's so fun.
Anyway.
All right. I love you guys. I love you listeners. Good night, Moon.
Good night, stars.
Let's go kill Voldemort.
Let's go kill Voldemort. Woo! Bye.
Bye.
Bye. That's it, potheads. Thanks for listening to The Restricted Section. Hosted and produced by me, Christina Kahn. Theme music produced by Ryan Kahn. Logo designed by Michael Hardison. Please don't find us on social media. I am not doing anything there. However, you are welcome to join our Patreon. For $1 a month, you can gain access to our Discord server, which is a lot of fun. And for $5 a month, you get access to our monthly bonus episodes. There's also a $10 and a $20 tier as well. So please go check that out. We are honored to be part of Deus Ex Media Podcast Network, which features lots of wonderful podcasts for nerds, including this one. I'm Christina Kahn.
And I'm Lelia Hilton.
And this is Burn Before Reading,
the podcast about shiterature.
We're here to examine the terrible writing we did when we were younger.
Like that school project you were really proud of.
Or that poem you wrote when you got dumped.
Well, how about that apology letter you wrote to your mom when you got into that fight?
Or the song you recorded before you knew how to write music.
Okay, don't at me. And we're here to talk about other cringy literary topics along the way.
Like the Library of Alexandria.
And Dewey Decimal.
His name was Melville Dewey.
Oh, well, do we want to get the clips rolling?
I don't think I ever recovered from this in terms of being cool.
Why did I say any of this?
I do like the drama.
So there is actually quite a bit to unpack here.
Oh, all this drama was so addictive as a teenager.
There's no punctuation to it. I'll start with that.
I actually have no memory of this.
There were so many lies that I was telling.
It's not terrible.
No one really taught me how to write a good short story.
That was a journey.
Listen to Burn Before Reading
Every Wednesday, wherever pods are cast.
To have but slumbered. I opened my eyes and beheld a face I knew from long ago, like a dream I'd mostly forgotten. It was dark outside. In stark contrast, the lantern's light was painful. So were his eyes, illuminated bright against his pallid skin. He was more worn than I remembered, ashen, faded, lined. He'd been neglected. "Darling!" he exclaimed, clearly more startled than anything. After several blinks, he grabbed me by the shoulders and clutched me to his breast. I realized I was alive when the pain came. It was the bending of aged logs until they started to break, the stretching taut of linens, then pulling harder, the disturbance of artifacts preserved by time and not touched in eons. I screamed, or rather groaned, but it came out as a puff of silence. "My love," I scraped as he continued to torture me with his fervent embrace. "What is this?" "It's life," he positively cooed, relinquishing his hold on my shoulder. Unprepared, I fell back into the pile of leaves from whence I came. "Can you smell the autumn air? Do you—" And he grabbed me again, this time by the wrist. I mustered the strength to flick him off, though I could not yet raise my head. He seemed not to notice. "Do you feel the breath in your lungs?" "It hurts," I insisted. "Take me back to the lake." I admit, in those preliminary moments, my mind was not quite right. "You're delusional," he muttered, inspecting my arms and legs, taking my pulse, impersonating a doctor. "There's no lake." But there was a lake. Understand, I have ongoing trouble, now and then, here and there. At times, I can still feel the warm, calm water caressing my calves. "The lake," I insisted. I sat bolt upright and a thrilling jolt of pain shot through my skull behind my eye. I was just there. I clutched my forehead. "Darling." He cupped my elbow, stern and gentle. The earnest slant of his face was a pang from a past life. "There's no lake. Look around you." I looked around me. The ground alternated dull brown and muted green. Clumps of orange leaves hung to trees like toddlers. We were in a familiar place that felt unrelated to me, like I'd only ever seen paintings of it. "A graveyard," I said. "We've been here before." He nodded with the slow patience of a schoolteacher. "Your mother's funeral," he provided. I nodded with the slow comprehension of a schoolchild. "The graveyard where my mother is buried." "Who else was buried here?" he asked, quite gentle. For the briefest moment, he was as I remembered. The steady magnificence of his intellect, the pleasant proddings of his tutelage. In silence, he pointed beside us. I turned to behold the nearest grave, closer than I'd expected. It had been dug up, the crisp oak coffin discarded irreverently, its lid flipped some feet away. The name on the fresh tombstone was my own, along with some dates and the mundane phrase, "Devoted daughter, sister, citizen." Somehow I wasn't at all surprised. I was reading a book and realizing I'd read at least this far before. "So you have done this thing," I muttered, pulling leaves absently from my hair. "It's only been a fortnight," he insisted. "You look lovely." Do you remember? I asked suddenly, because I had only just remembered myself. I clutched my knees in their crusty skirts close to my chest. What I said to you in those final moments. A glare of anger crossed his face. His face does not wear anger well. Don't remind me. I knew I was dying, I persisted. I asked you to let me go, to pray and to forgive me, and to let me go. A peculiar silence consumed us, and the entire graveyard as well. A pregnant pause, one might say. My lips pressed together tightly, wondering how a dead person might die again, for I had already forfeited this life and grown used to the next. His mouth opened and closed, gasping for understanding as he stroked his beard, by reflex. I did better than that, he said. I brought you back. I leapt to my feet. The pain was less now. It had become something I would live with instead of something I would die from. You stink of dark magic, I snapped, and it was true. It was a stench I never would have noticed before, but now that I had passed through life's door, it was unmistakable. The pungent, organic, almost scientific decay of the damned. I wanted to be lakeside once more, even if it was a symptom of death, collecting seashells with my mother and writing letters to my love. 'Tis the stench of death. I strode away, eager to move far from this first awkward step of my reanimation and approach the next. Perhaps I would return to my father to see if he considered me in this form to be his daughter. Perhaps I would go to church to see if I could be saved or would burn upon crossing the threshold. Perhaps I would fling myself from a tall bridge. The leaves shattered under his feet as he lunged and grabbed me by the sleeve. I had not the strength to resist. I'd been dead for weeks. I turned to him but did not stop walking, the gate of the cemetery beckoning to me. I would settle for my old world for the time being if I could not reach the lake. Darling, he said, people address you directly as much as possible when they think you're acting hysterical, as if it might ground you in some way. Magic, yes, but dark? It brought you back to me. Where is the darkness in that? You've totally violated the laws of nature, I said, and I can smell it all over you. Right then and there, he began emptying his pockets of all sorts of mess, tossing them onto the grass. Herbs, mysterious vials, trinkets that once belonged to me. Is that better? He asked, shaking out his coat to demonstrate its emptiness. I can bathe at home. It's not that kind of smell. He shook his head in resignation, either deciding that I had lost part of my brain on the other side, or accepting his own foul stench. Let's go to my house, he said softly, extending an arm to me like he used to. I'll admit, we were faced off like an outlaw versus the sheriff right in the center of the street like common urchins. We can talk in comfort by my fire. I deigned to accept his outstretched arm, and we settled into our old walk, a countenance that came easily, but felt wrong. As we stepped out from the dry grass of the cemetery and onto the hard black pavement, I felt I was leaving something important behind. Not the hole in the ground from which I had come, not the eternal slumber I had been locked in, not the worms who had missed out on a good meal. I felt I was leaving home. I felt I was walking away from myself. My heels clicked on the sidewalk in a way I had forgotten. Their sound echoed down the street. I could not stand to be so loud, so I sidestepped onto the grass. Though my heels sunk in with every step, I persisted. You must be freezing, he said suddenly, releasing me to remove his coat. I put a hand out strong and commanding, the way my father used to. I'm not. Besides, and I refrained from reminding him, I could not bear the odor clinging to the jacket's fabric. But it's November, he argued. I'm not cold, I said simply. And I wasn't. The breeze swept through my skirts and hair and caressed my bare skin. I reveled in the delightful movement of the air, and yet I was warm. Bless his heart, he attempted a weak chuckle. There's a first time for everything, I suppose, and he yanked his jacket back onto his shoulders. It was undeniably quite late at night, for we passed not a soul save for a few rogue cats on the street. Of course, he would have waited to commit his act until the city was asleep. I had never been out at such an hour. It was enthralling, like misbehaving, and yet a little sad, like beholding the face of a loved one who has passed away. His townhouse was where I remembered it being, and I showed myself up the stoop and inside. "Where's your butler?" I asked. The entryway was filthy, and no one greeted us at the door. "I dismissed him," he said, waving it off. I saw no logic in his having let his butler go, and the grimy evidence of his poor decision lay before me, but I carried on in silence. I had not been gone so long that anything had changed. The dusty flowers in the foyer, the cluttered kitchen, the grand wing-back armchair before the fire. His home was a bachelor's paradise, all utility and no beauty. I had once been the person who would change that. Was I still? I looked down at my leftmost fingers, the diamond ring pulling my attention like a magnet. He grasped my hand in his, and I turned to behold his face, slowly drawing the connection. The ring. The man. The man had given me the ring. "What of this?" I asked, raising the ring and the finger and the hand to meet his eyes. "Is this why you brought me back?" He took my bejeweled hand and kissed it, gazing at me from under his lashes in that way men do when they mean to be endearing. With a palm on the small of my back, he steered me toward the couch, and we sat. "Darling," he said stiffly, "of course I brought you back to marry me. That was always our plan." It was a plan from long ago, like the rules to a game from my youth that would only make sense to a child. My only plan was to return to my lake. Even today, I seek the path to get back there. "Darling," he said again. Then, to optimize his dramatization, he swept off the couch, coattails whipping, and knelt before me in the genuflection of a prayer. "I would do anything for you. I've done all this for you. All I've ever wanted is to be with you. Will you still have me?" When I didn't answer fast enough, he elaborated. "We can carry on with the wedding as planned, on Christmas Eve. Or we can do it later if you need time to refresh yourself." I did indeed need to refresh myself. "Excuse me," I said, and I stood. Powder room. My fingers trailed along the wallpaper as I took the familiar route to his first-floor bathroom. I had walked these halls many times before. Sometimes I came with Papa or my aunt. Sometimes I came alone, though I'd never tell. The dark, cool tiles of the powder room embraced me, and I closed the door without first feeling for the lamp. I could do all I needed in the dark. I braced myself on the sink, devoured a few oversized breaths, pressed my clenched fists into my stomach, and wondered if the room was going spotty. I grew dizzy. Fanning myself, I sat on the toilet, its chain clouding me across the face. He cleared his throat in the living room. I clutched my skirts and counted my breaths. "Are you all right?" he called. "Yes, my love," I called back. "Just a minute." I arranged myself in order. First my spirit, then my hair, and then my dress. I even opened the door to let in the light from the lamp in the hall, so I could better inspect myself in the mirror. The reflection showed a person who was clearly me, and yet I did not know her. It reminded me of when I used to get drunk once or twice a year, by accident. Inevitably, I would excuse myself for personal reasons just like this and make eye contact with myself in the mirror despite my better judgment. I always felt it was my duty to chastise the person I saw before me, though I knew, in the end, it would do no good. My face was as I remembered, round and freckled with that nose. The dress was one I'd worn many times before, my favorite formal outfit, burgundy and lace. But all these things I struggled to place within my own life. All these things I'd left behind. I leaned in close to better look myself in the eyes. My cheeks were flushed with blood that had been dead until an hour ago. I burst into the hallway, but could not bear the thought of his eager expression, his manic eyes. The kitchen was lit well enough from its one lamp, and I took a stroll around the butcher's block in the center, seeking something familiar, a sip of wine, a bite of bread. There it lay, in all its glory, a half loaf of bread that smelled vaguely of rye. Wishing I could remember the old butler's name, I grabbed a knife from its block and cut myself a slice. The taste cannot be described except to those who love bread as I do. It was the flavor of every loved one's home, every cook who ever liked you, every warm night spent doing simple things. As I chewed slowly, I set the rest of the slice down and pressed the tip of the knife into my palm. It was a bread knife, serrated, so it would require more than your usual effort to break skin. How much pressure would it take to draw blood? Would that blood look the same as I remembered? Or would it be old, black, and decayed? "What are you doing?" I gasped. The knife fell. He grabbed my wrists and pulled me toward the door. His brown boot kicked the knife and it sliced across the floor. "Can I not leave you alone?" he demanded, leading me back into the living room. He lit a fire, which was aesthetically pleasing. A fire represented all the brilliance of this, the real world. There had been no need for fire at the lake. The water was always warm, the sun always bright. "What's wrong with you?" "What's wrong with you?" was the only reply I could muster. My mind was still hazy, like the morning after too many drinks. "Always so headstrong," he snapped, glaring at me. "When will you learn that you can't do whatever you want? There are consequences, darling." "I died," I told him, "from causes beyond my own actions. Sometimes there are consequences, sometimes there aren't. Sometimes awful things just happen for no reason." "Do not presume to philosophize me," he said, letting go of my arms at last. "You will come to see once you've recovered yourself. You'll understand the sacrifices I've made for you. You'll see how far I've come in these short weeks." I grabbed his wrists with both my hands, looking down. I wished I was wearing gloves. Calming his speech, he said, "I've done more for you than any of your friends' husbands would do for them. I love you. I love you, and now I have you back right where I want you." I could feel the blood rushing through the veins of his wrist. I could see the heat in his eyes. He was impassioned. He was bearing himself unto me. He was not holding back. He was not the one I'd left behind. This man was not the silent strength I'd come to expect pressing back against my whims. He neither bit his tongue nor quelled the nervous agitations of his body. He spoke without thinking and moved without planning. In a brief fortnight, he had become something new. "My love," I whispered, withdrawing my hand from his and clutching both of mine to my sternum. "You stink of dark magic." I stood, then, seeing nothing else to do. He watched as I smoothed my skirts and crossed the room. It was only when I traversed the doorway that he called out. "Darling," he said. It had equal parts command and resignation. "Where are you going?" It was then I realized I had no plan, so I shrugged. "My father's. I need counsel." "I can give you counsel," he offered. No, you can't," I explained, or attempted to. Then, with a small wave, I left. To his credit, he didn't follow.
Dave X Media.